Hey, what's up there, YouTube? And getting a little more specific, what's up there, Pheano Black? Because this is my Steelswarm Inzektor deck for your little contest thing. And I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into the deck list. We've got ourselves for the Inzektor engine. We've got 3 Inzektor Centipede, 3 Inzektor Dragonfly, 2 Inzektor Giga Mantis, and 3 Inzektor Hornet. And then for the Steelswarm engine, we have 3 Inzektor and 3 Steelswarm Gearstag, 2 Steelswarm Moth, and 2 Steelswarm Scout. And then for our generic support cards, we have 2 Dark Grepher, 2 Dark Armed Dragon, 1 Dark Magician of Chaos, 1 Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, and 2 Effect Veiler. And then for the spells, we have Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, Graceful Charity, Harpy's Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, Inzektor Sword Excalibur, Monster Reborn, Painful Choice, Pot of Greed, Raigeki, Reinforcement of the Army, and then 3 Smoke Grenade of the Goblin Thief. Yeah, I think it's Smoke Grenade of the Goblin Thief. And yeah, so Steel Swarms are my favorite archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever. I just absolutely love them so much. I was like, I wonder what deck I can make today. And then I just kind of went searching around on Dueling Network, and I was like, what about Steel Swarms? So I typed them up, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And then I made a deck, and I had Scout in it, and I was like, this kind of sucks with Scout. I'm taking him out. And then it was amazing afterwards, and I was like, oh my god, this deck is amazing! And then I was like, wait a minute, wouldn't this work well with Inzektors? Because Inzektors, like, in the deck so much. So then I made an advanced format, which I have not posted on YouTube. And then I saw your video, Pheano, and I was like, I wonder if I can just basically take my deck, fiddle around with a couple cards in it, and then just kind of make an advanced format. So that's what I did. So this is Smoke Inzektors and Steelswarm Monarchs. I mean, I could probably you could replace the Steelswarm cards with Monarchs, and then the what is it? The Scouts with Treeborn Frogs. But you know, that doesn't really. I prefer going with the Steel Swarms because Steel Swarms just they just do it for me. If you get what I mean, they're just cool. I like them. And then they're also dark, which has great synergy with the Dark Gruff from the deck, which is basically going to be dumping your Hornets. It's going to be dumping all your what is it? Dirt. All your Steel Swarms. I could probably add in a recurring Nightmare to this deck instead of the Inzektor Swords, which you know, I could side those in and have have 2 recurring Nightmares instead of the Inzektor Swords Excaliburs, because then you could reuse all of your summons with Scout. So that would be cool. And let's see. Well, I mean, he said that you said you wanted this in the restricted format. So I basically just went ahead and was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in some basic staples, and then Painful Choice, because Painful Choice is freaking amazing in every way whatsoever. Because you basically Foolish Burial 4 cards and add 1 to your hand. I mean, you don't get to choose what 4 cards go to the graveyard of the 5 you pick, but that doesn't matter. You just pick, at least 3 cards that your opponent doesn't want in the graveyard. Then they'll pick one of them. They have 2 of the 3 you wanted in the grave. So yeah, or you could, pick 2 of the same card that you want to go to the grave, and it doesn't matter what they do now because you've got it there. And then the Pot of Greed and all that stuff is just freaking amazing. And the reinforcement of the army is there just for consistency because Dark Grepher really does so much more for this deck than really any other deck that I could think of. Because it can dump a lot really fast, and it basically can set up for a first turn Dark Arm Dragon, and then you can go really quickly into your next turn, being able to tribute summon with Scout for like Gear Stag or something, and getting a send on your opponent. So yeah, and the Steel Swarms, they're just really good. Both Steel Storm monsters in this deck are basically designed to break your opponent's setups. I mean, Gearstag sends a card to the graveyard, and then you gain 1,000 life points, and then Moth returns 2 cards on their side of the field to the hand, and then you lose 1,000 life points. It's, I mean, yeah, there's like Solemn Warning and stuff, but you know they have to negate the summon, and since you can't activate the effect until you summon it, then they can either A, lose 2,000 life points, or B, have their setup be broken. So, they'd probably pay the 2,000 life points, but at that point, you're still winning because you're still playing Inzektors. So, at this point, I wouldn't have taken any risks. I would go with the Inzektors first. I still have the Inzektors on the field. They wasted a Solemn Warning. So, now I basically take that as a sign to go ahead and, pull off an awesome combo and uh, get in a lot of damage that turn. And the Dark Magician of Chaos is in there kind of just to abuse the really it's just there to abuse Monster Reborn, because Monster Reborn can just bring it back over and over and over again. So basically every turn you're gonna keep out a big 2,800 beater on the field. And since Scout wait no, Scout can't be used as a tribute for it. But yeah, I mean Inzektors swarm so much that you can use them as the tributes and it's perfectly fine. Or you could even just Monster Reborn it out of the graveyard by dumping it with Dark Griffer. So there are tons of options for Dark Magician of Chaos. And Blackluster Soldier can really only be used after you either A, dump Effect Veiler, which is a bad idea, or B, use Effect Veiler, which is a good idea. Since in this deck it's virtually dead once it hits the graveyard. And it could hit the graveyard. You might have drawn 3 with painful with Graceful Charity and then had to discard 2, and one of the 3 cards you had in your hand was an Effect Veiler. So, I mean, an Effect Veiler versus something more important that you want to keep, like Blackluster Soldier. Then you could summon Blackluster Soldier rather than waiting to use Effect Veiler and losing your Blackluster Soldier permanently. So this deck just gives you a lot of options. I mean, it has a nice core to the deck, which is really the Inzektors. That's what's going to be getting out your good plays. And then the Steel Storms are kind of there, just in case, just in case the Inzektors aren't enough, and your opponent's got a card in the field that is really screwing them over or something. Like, let's say they Fiendish Change or Dragonfly or something. Well, then you just summon Scout, tribute it, and summon Girostag, and then you gain 1,000 life points off of it. So it's absolutely awesome how this deck can work, because they each save each other. Even if you didn't have an Inzektor in your hand, you had a Hornet in your graveyard. There are just so many ways that you can stop one archetype, but at the same time, the other archetype is able to work around that. So, yeah, that's my Steelswarm Inzektor deck. Yeah.